Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm going to talk about this camera. It's arguably the camera that I use the most outside of my iPhone 11, and it is the Olympus Stylus. It is a point and shoot film camera, and I'm just gonna really talk about some of the pros and cons of this video. I guess it's kind of a review. I'll keep it kind of short and concise, and I'll show you some images from this camera as well, but yes, this is the Olympus Stylus. Let's just start with some of the pros of this camera. Some of the things I like about this camera is that it's very small. The form factor is wonderful. It fits right in the pocket or a bag that you have on you. Another thing that I like about this camera a lot is that it's very quick to boot up or to start. So it's simply just opening it up and then you're ready to go. And as you've noticed too, when you do that, here, let's do some ASMR. The lens is hidden, and so the lens is protected when you have it just carrying around and dangling from your shoulder, but as soon as you open this up, that's when the lens protrudes and it's ready to fire. So another cool thing about this camera is that I also like that on the very back, like a lot of point and shoot cameras, you can see the film stock that you have in there. So just in case you forgot what you put in the camera, you can see what it is right there. It's all making sense? I hope so. Cool. And then I like that with this kind of camera, it's fully automatic. So there's zero thinking outside of maybe your subject and composition that you're going after. You don't have to focus on what the shutter speed is or where your aperture is at. The camera's doing all of it for you. In a lot of ways, especially for beginners, this is a fantastic camera to start with. And the only reason why I got this camera is because my other point and shoot, RIP, the Canon Prima Mini Date, which I love, just like this, very similar. I dropped it on a family vacation and it broke. That's the only reason why I copped this one. And the last thing I really like about this camera is that you can take 36 exposures, but sometimes, depending on how you load the film in the back, you can even squeeze out 37 or 38. So there have been rolls that I have photographed through here where I've gotten 37 or 38 frames, which is pretty cool. Those are some of the cool things about this camera that I like a lot. All right, so it's only fair though to talk about the things that I don't necessarily enjoy so much about this camera. The first one being that when you open it up, it's all automatic. So the camera will fire the flash if it thinks it needs flash, and then it doesn't fire it when it thinks there's enough ambient light. The problem though is if there's a specific scene that you want to photograph with the flash off, the flash is always just automatic. So the only way to turn it off is by pressing this button up top and toggling through until it says off right there, which I know you can't really see. Oh, can you? Yeah. That's something I don't like about this camera is if you want to take a photo with the flash off, you have to toggle through. And that's every single time you turn this camera on. As soon as you close and open it up again, it's back to auto flash. So every time you close this and open it up, you have to reset that flash to off if you want to take a photo without it firing. Another thing that I don't really enjoy about this camera is that it's not great in low light. And I have found that when the light's kind of mixed or it's not really dark, but it's not really bright, sometimes the camera gets confused whether or not to use the flash. And I've had frames where the flash doesn't fire and the image is very heavily underexposed. And so I think the camera is not so great in low light, and if it's like that weird light where it's not dark or light, it kind of struggles sometimes with determining whether or not the flash should fire. And then the last thing that I don't really like about this camera is that the autofocus, it's all autofocused, it's a hit or miss. I have found that in bright daylight outside, this thing is awesome. It hardly will lose focus. It's kind of sharp for a point and shoot camera. It's great when there's a lot of available light. And it's actually one of the reasons why I am considering maybe getting the Mu 2, which is basically a bigger brother to this camera. It's also 3 or 4 times as expensive, but I just don't like that whenever I develop and process a roll, that so many of the frames are out of focus just because this misses focus a lot when the light's not that great. Those are some of the cons. If you want to get one of these cameras now, they're pretty expensive. You can still get them for sub 100. They are a lot more expensive than they were even 5 or 6 years ago. I think for the price, it's okay. It just happens to be the one that I have. Again, I think for beginners, I think for people who just want a camera to keep on them at home to photograph their family, I think this is a pretty good camera. I like literally take this everywhere when we're going out for dinner or the girls are going on their scooters or going to the playground. It's this camera in tandem with my iPhone that I'm taking the most photos. So hopefully you enjoy the photos that I showed you guys today. And if you have questions on this camera or you have some other pros and cons that you'd like to share in the comments, please share them. And I'll see you in the next one. That's it. Okay. Bye. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Take a photo of you guys? Okay. Okay. Bye.